Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today's video is, as the title says, what's the best amp for my guitar? Well, that's a really wide open question, isn't it? To which there is a very basic, simple answer to you, okay, which I'm going to give you the exact same answer I gave to a guy on Facebook that actually asked this same question today. And the answer I gave him was this. Take your guitar or guitars, okay, go around to every music store and every pawn shop that carries musical equipment and go play on a bunch of amps. Different brands, whatever, different price ranges. Don't worry about how much it's going to cost you, because I was actually taught this recently, because my biggest whine and complaint in life is I can't afford a USA Strat, okay, or I can't afford, you know, something else for a guitar that I want. I met this guy in Music City a couple of times ago when I was in there, and he says, "You can afford it." I says, "Not on my budget. You don't realize my financial situation here. I get through a month as it is, you know." He says, "Wrong." He says, "You can afford it." Number one, he says, you got to tell yourself you can afford it, okay? You may not have the money right in your hand at the time, but you can afford it. Anything you want in this world, you can afford. I says, well, the only way that's going to happen is if I can learn to save the money. He says, well, that is one way, yes. The other option is layaway. I says, well, I've done layaway in the past, but nowadays I only get 90 days. Well, if you know you can do it in 90 days, well, there's your solution. If you want that guitar hanging up over there in that room, put money down on it, pay it off 90 days. Simple. So you can afford it. So, you know what? I have to agree with him now. So now I can afford anything I want. It's just a matter of either having to save the money or putting it on layaway and paying it off in 90 days if I can. If I can't do it in 90 days, then I'm going to have to save the money. But then I can afford whatever I want. So, that being said, I have a few things in mind I want to get, but I'm going to have to wait to get them. But in the meantime, I got lots of toys here to work with in the meantime. So, not urgent. So anyway, on with the show. There's a little lesson in life for you. I learned it. And it's going to apply to that amplifier too, because if you really need that $2,000 amplifier, God forbid, but if you do, you can afford it, even on a minimum wage job. Even if you're even below minimum wage for some reason, you can afford it, okay? But if that's what you need, that's what you need to buy. Don't take advice from all these guys on groups and forums and other places across the global internet saying, this is the best amp. This is the best amp. Buy a tube amp. Don't buy solid state. Buy a tube amp. And then you get the other guys going, buy a solid state. Don't buy a tube. Buy a solid state. Don't buy a tube. You know, just makes you want to hit somebody some days, doesn't it? But it's true. This stuff goes on all the time. And people have followed the advice of, we'll say the majority said, go after this. So the guy does, or girl, gets disappointed in the end. Sometimes happy, sometimes. Mostly though, disappointed in the end. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm all for playing Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC, name your group, I don't care. That's great. But you also have to have your own sound, your own music. I didn't get into guitar playing because I liked Hendrix, or I liked the Beatles or the Bee Gees. In fact, I hated a lot of them. I didn't even like Elvis Presley, and to this day I still don't. Personal preference. I have a different taste in music. But I had no influence. I have always loved guitar since I was a little child. And my parents always fed into all my musical desires and whims. Be it guitars, keyboards, didn't matter. I wanted it, I got it, right? Anyways, in the end, my best instrument of choice has been guitar. And I love guitar. It's a great instrument, okay? But I don't care to even try and think of emulating some other artist's tone. I don't care, you know? I mean, can I make money off of another artist's music? Legally? No. Can't. So, kind of sucks. So why play it? Play it for fun. I play their music for fun. You know, but I write my own music. I have my own sound, my own tone, and that's how I buy my equipment. I don't buy my equipment based on who I want to be a copycat of or attempt to be a copycat of. I buy equipment based on me, my sound that I want. Okay? Now, going back to earlier, and being able to afford whatever you want, which I've had the wrong programming for years. Because, of course, ever since, you know, growing up and moving out on my own and paying my own damn bills, I don't have the platinum or gold spoon in my mouth anymore, whatever the richest mineral is on the planet. So, I'm not spoiled rotten anymore, unless I do it myself. And you're going to be the same way if you're not already. So you know. You got to pay bills, rent, car payments, all that crap. And it's like, I got this much left for a new toy. I wonder what I get to buy this week. But I've had the wrong thinking, you know. So I'd always buy within my means. So the last purchase I made for an amp, well, second last and last, is Fender Mustang 1V2 amp. I bought one of those because even though the Marshall was nice and it was cheaper, it didn't offer me features like built-in effects, because right away I couldn't afford any effects pedals. So I figure if I buy something with effects already in it, I can buy my effects later, right? And that worked for a short little time. All right. I also have the advantage too where I can hook the Mustang 1 amp into my Mac and run it through GarageBand. If I remember right, I can also run it through Amplitude. And actually have the amp sound go through the computer that way. But in Fender Mustang Fuse software, when you play the amp, you have to have your amp turned on regardless anyway, but you're going to hear it from your amp only. You can't hear it through the computer like you can with GarageBand and that. So it's just the way the cable happens to work with Fender Fuse software, because they've set the software up only for being able to manipulate amplifier settings. So, which is kind of nice too, because you hear it through the actual amp when you're changing the settings of whatever you want to do to that thing with the limits of the software. So I bought that amp out the door, tax in $200. Bought my second one online, $60 cash. Okay, got it used, but it's in absolute cherry bomb condition. You'd swear to God I just bought it from the store, you know. Now, I'll tell you right now, neither one of these two Mustang 1 amps sound the same on the same settings. Because it's not possible. Okay? Even if they were made the same day, the same month, the same run that particular day, within the same 2 minutes apart from each other, I don't care. They are not going to sound the same. Okay? Even if you broke them both in the same way. Okay? They are not going to be the same sound exactly. There will be a tonal difference, and you can actually hear it. At least I can in this room. You should be able to as well if you were in the room with me. Over a recording, you're not going to know. Now, I have both of these amps hooked into my Yamaha mixing board because I also require a microphone, blah, 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 and other goodies, and then I got a mixing board so I can do all this stuff. So, clean amp tone. I found a couple of clean tones. Okay, In fact, the cleanest tones that I can come up with. So, I have a video on that too. So if you have a Mustang 1 or a Mustang 2 amp, okay, and you want the cleanest amp setting tones, go check out my video. Alright? Because I'm running through a mixing board, I need clean sounds. My mixing board also has an effects rack in it. As well, I now have some effects pedals, and I'm going to be getting a lot more of them. And I went through that in a story a long time ago in some videos that, you know, I had amps, I had pedals coming out the yin yang, and those videos are on my channel too. But I've also had stuff that's never been on my YouTube channel, because back in that time period, I wasn't even doing YouTube. I haven't even heard of YouTube. And I had a lot of gear over the years, okay? I had some really good stuff. But life happens time to time, and that's the way it goes. So, if you're looking for a specific sound, you need an amp that can do it with your gear. So you cannot go into a music store, bottom line, and take any guitar off their shelf that's apparently the same as yours, okay, same thing, same setup, and have it sound the same way your guitar is going to sound. Your sound is broken in, your pickups are different. Huh? Oh, yes they are. Yes they are. They are different. See, let's say you got, I don't know, 1,000 whines on a pickup. 500 whines, I don't care. And let's say the factory does the same whines on every single pickup they make for a run. Okay, for the style of pickup they're trying to create. Okay. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to explain a little bit about life and why things aren't equal. Then you can understand. A wire, I don't care how long, let's just say it's this long. You measure the consistency of the wire from one end to another. It's not the same. It's not the same consistency. It will have anywhere from round to flat to, could be octagonal shaping in it. Could be a bit of a triangle squish, we'll say. Either way, it's not perfectly round, okay? Nothing is, all right? Especially wire and thin wire at that. But everything has got its defects. So in the world of wire, the tensile strength of two apparent pieces of wire is also not going to be exactly and precisely the same. And as they're winding the pickup, there's tension on the spool, there's tension on the device holding the pickup, and at the RPMs they go at creates tension on that wire, and that wire gets stretched and pulled at, okay? And so even when it's folding end to end, the tensile strength is compromised. The thinness of the wire is stretched or not stretched in areas, and so on and so on. And then they go and they magnetize that sucker when they're done putting it together, okay? Because pickups are magnetic, okay, in this case. And as such, the strength of the pickup is not going to be exactly the same, because even each little piece of pole, even if it was cut from the same freaking piece of rod, is not the same molecular structure makeup through every single little slice of that damn rod. And those rods are going to be plus or minus in length and in diameter, plus and minus. And if they're putting bevel edges, okay, because you got to get rid of the sharp edges when you make a cut, okay, on the lathe to make these little poles. So even the bevels are going to be in and out, plus and minus, actually quite a lot in comparison to diameters and so on. This all affects the sound in the end, okay? So, you know, and that's the thing. And that's why you cannot pull the exact same Strat off the wall in the music store and have it sound exactly like your Strat at home, which is also unmodified. And if you have modified it, it ain't gonna sound the same, period, okay? If you just change the 5-way switch alone from a cheap, crappy switch, okay, and you put in a quality switch, you will change the sound, guaranteed. I know because my Strat behind me here is an Infinity Strat, and it came with a cheap $3 piece of crap switch that when I was just changing the dual rails into it, I lost my bridge position, which pissed me off. Okay, so I had to go buy a switch, $22 in tax later, Canadian dollars, okay, and then I got it running. Now I liked the hot rails, okay, but I also thought, well, I can't afford another Strat right now that I want to just, mod to make a really nice single coil machine, put in some really good pickups and this and high-end pots and blah, 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 okay, and I will still even modify a really expensive Strat to do this, but to get what I want, right? Modding is a way of life as a musician with a guitar. Anyway, so I put the single coils back in. My output is more than doubled, okay? Or it's at least doubled, okay? The sound of the pickups is so clean compared to it was out of the box. From just a switch change. Quality of components makes a difference. I'm still running the same cheap pots in it for now, but those are going to get switched out eventually when I'm motivated and I have the extra money to burn for nothing else more to do than to have some fun and put some better quality pickups in. I'm also going to take them from whatever's in there now and cut them in half, because I think, if I remember correctly, there's 500K pots in there, and I'm going to knock 2 of them back for sure. But the thing is I am improving the instrument even that much more, okay? And just by changing that switch and getting a whole new sound out of it, it was like, whew, I like this thing all of a sudden. So I'm leaving the single coils now in my Strat until I get a replacement Strat. Then the hot rails will go back in, and that's fine at that point, okay? Till then I need the Stratocaster-y sound, and I can't get that out of hot rails, but I can get it out of the single coils. There you go. Anyways, guys, that pretty much covers it. I mean, if you got other questions, feel free to ask, but the bottom line is just that, on the plain and simple side, forget listening to what people try to tell you to buy, okay? You have your own sound, and you have your own things that you want to do with your guitars, and you need to take your guitar or guitars with you when you're checking out amplifiers, especially if you want to use the same amp for all your guitars, right? You're never going to end up with just one amplifier that is an end-all to be-all for every single kind of music you play, unless it's only one guitar, and that's all you're playing, and you're happy with that, okay? But if you want to get that sound out, you need the amp or amps with your equipment in order to do so, okay? Because pedals can only do so much. You do still need an amplifier, and an amplifier is it's the main heart next to the guitar itself. Okay, and you kind of need them both to work together, okay, in order for everything to sound great. So, that being said, catch you on the next video, and once again, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please smash that subscribe button, click on the little bell beside it when it appears, and then say, let me have more future videos from this guy. And that'll definitely update you every time I put new videos up, because I do all kinds of stuff on my channel, and feel free to check out the other videos. I have tons of variety of different things I do. So anyways, catch you later.